When thinking about retirement planning and the subject of risk management comes up, I think that most people think about risk as only market risk. But there are a lot of other risk factors that need to be considered when you're planning for your retirement. Here to talk about that very subject is my guest, Corby Crawford in Beaumont, Texas. So, Corby, thanks for joining us today. And so I think many people, when they hear the word risk, they usually think of market risk. What are some of the other risks they need to think about?
Well, along with market risk, which is a definite risk and something to be cognizant of, the three other risks that come into play for most clients that are at or near retirement are sequence of return risk, longevity risk, and tax risk. Now, a longevity risk is the risk that you potentially run out of money. Most people that retire these days at 65, between 65 and 70, have to prepare for their nest egg to last them, the next 20 to 30 years. In addition to that, sequence of return risk is a risk where, although long-term averages might give you a certain figure, it tends to be very lumpy in the sense that some years the market does 20, 30, some years it does single digits, other years you are exposed to another 2008. So that's something that has to be planned for, and try your best to smooth those returns out so you are able to reach your destination through retirement. Finally, one of the biggest risks that most people aren't aware of is tax risk. Taxes tend to be, along with medical costs, one of your biggest expenses during retirement. With where we are as a country as far as our national debt, with 10,000 baby boomers a day retiring, and the stress that potentially puts on Medicare and Social Security, people often ask the question, logically, what will that do to future tax rates?
So, Corby, it's been said that, as people get older, their risk tolerances typically change. If someone is at or near retirement, should they be exposed to any market risk at all?
Well, obviously, any investor's risk tolerance is going to be different. What they're comfortable doing is going to be different. Their level of assets may be different. But for the majority of people that we sit down with, the market risk has to be hedged or mitigated to a certain extent. The nightmare scenario is someone that retires and then we have another year like 2008. So not only has their nest egg gone down 30 to 40%, but they're also taking income off of their nest egg, and consequently they had a pool of assets that they depended on to last throughout retirement. Then now it's going to be depleting, both from them taking income from it as well as taking a big hit in the market.
So most advisors finally say that if you want growth, some risk is necessary. But what if somebody wants growth and they want protection and they don't want any risk?
Well, there's been a number of developments within the financial services industry to address that particular topic. How do you get some growth that's going to outpace inflation, keep up your standard of living, but without exposing yourself to another 2008? So there's strategies that give you market growth and have upside potential, but you're protected on the downside. There's a number of ways that can be done, but the kind of the evolution in the industry, whereas used to you could buy CDs or even bonds that may provide a safer source of income for you, with what's happened to interest rates over the last 5 to 10 years, and they're moving from a moderate to high interest rate environment down to where the low rate environment we are today. The industry has evolved. You have so many retirees with this same challenge, and so consequently the products have evolved in the sense that things that are available today weren't even available 2, 3, 5 years ago.
That's Corby Crawford in Beaumont, Texas. Thanks for watching Retirement News Online.